Are you out of her damn mind? Then, bam, she returned the favor with a skull-cracking headbutt of her own. Blood sprayed. He was down, but Hong Ying still wasn't done. She punched him again and again, right in the face. What? I'm not good enough for you, she screamed. You refuse me, but would sleep with every chick in Jiangnan. You think you're some kind of emperor picking concubines. You're a tool, a commodity, a pet. You ain't no lord, and sure as hell not royalty. By the time she finished, the man was beaten to a pulp, bruised, bloodied, barely conscious. Even his one remaining strength had gone completely soft. Hong Ying stared at him, a flicker of regret flashing through her eyes. Maybe she went too far, but she didn't plan to let him off just yet. She called over a girl who'd been watching. Give him the stamina pills. Through cracked lips, the man growled his last bit of defiance. F//KU. The girl tried to pour the blue pills into his mouth, but the man spat them all out. Her face went pale. Oh no, he bit his tongue. Hong Ying froze. The shock sobered her up instantly. The last man alive, and he'd rather kill himself than be used. If he really died, there'd be nothing left to play with. After some frantic fumbling, Hong Ying and the girl finally stopped the man from biting off his tongue. Hong Ying snapped. What the hell is wrong with you? Just then, Qingyin finally arrived, strolling in, only to be met with total chaos. Her face darkened. Hong Ying, get off him. Now, the enemy will reach the front line in 30 seconds. You need to get a Taizhou and prepare defenses immediately. But Hong Ying didn't even flinch. I'll be done in a second, she said calmly, still hovering over the man. Qingyin was fuming. I said get off. She turned to the girl beside her. Zhou Can, take her out. Sober her up. Still, Hong Ying refused to move. Just let me finish this. I'll go after. That was the last straw. Qingyin, usually all grace and patience, snapped. Touch him again, and our alliance is over. If you touch him again, your Xiong Corps will lose everything. No more supplies, no more support. Step out of Jiangnan, and you'll never cross Xian River again. Realizing Qingyin wasn't bluffing, Hong Ying finally stepped off the bed, though clearly pissed. She walked up to Qingyin and muttered, What the hell is your problem? He's the last man on Earth. You don't want to use him. What, planning to keep him as some kind of mascot? Qingyin's tone softened. Hong Ying, he's a person, not a toy. But Hong Ying cut her off and walked out, tossing over her shoulder, whatever. He's not even functional right now. Keep him if you want. Then she called out, Zhou Can, stay here and keep an eye on him. After everyone left, the man sat alone by the lake. Everything he'd gone through had drained him, physically and mentally. Qingyin and Xiao Yi eventually approached. Qingyin asked, tongue didn't work. What now? Planning to drown yourself? The man gave a weak chuckle. I thought a world ruled by women would be gentler. Turns out, it's not about gender. It's about power. He looked up at her. So what's your plan for me? Qingyin sat beside him and said calmly, Pull yourself together. Don't you still want to make it to Northmere? The man smirked, eyes still down. Spare me the good cop, bad cop routine. You never intended to let me go. Qingyin met his gaze. On the contrary, I want you gone, as soon as possible. You're not as valuable as you think. Keeping you here will only bring disaster to Jiangnan. The man looked up stunned, his face bruised and swollen like a punching bag. Wait, don't you want the last man alive? He asked. Qingyin replied without hesitation. I do. Her blunt honesty left even Xiao Yi wide-eyed. The man stared at this elegant, determined woman, remembering how she protected him, sheltered him, and even stood up to Hong Ying for his sake. All of it had stirred something in his heart. Something tender. Something dangerous. He whispered, Qingyin. Then, with swollen lips, he leaned in to kiss her cheek. But Qingyin suddenly stood up, her voice icy. I want a man. But you? You're not one. His face fell. What did you just say? Qingyin looked down at him and said firmly, The men I remember don't crumble into self-pity the second things go south. The man pointed to his swollen, bruised face. Self-pity? You think I beg for this? I've survived in a world crawling with monsters, completely powerless, and you're calling that a little setback? Are you serious? Qingyin didn't acknowledge his outburst. She simply said, I thought I'd found the last man on Earth, but all I see is a kid on his first trip away from home. The man didn't argue. He just sighed, stood up, and turned to leave. As he walked, he muttered, You're right. Without strength, I'm nothing. I'll just go back to Sichuan. Qingyin stared at his back, voice rising with frustration. Strength isn't all that makes a man. Grit, reason, confidence, and willpower. That's what defines a real man. Her tone sharpened. You know you can't go back to Sichuan. Your future is chaos. You'll never have peace. And the only weapon you have, the only one that's truly yours, is what no one else in this world has left, a man's will. Without turning around, the man muttered, That's not a man you're describing. That's a superhero. Qingyin's voice rang out, firm and unyielding. And being the only one means you must surpass. If there's only one man left, then yes, he has to become a superhero. The man stopped walking. Qingyin went on, You asked me, why did women change? Why are you the only man? Why haven't you seen anyone in 3 years? I don't know, but you can find out. For yourself, and for all of us. If the answer's not here, go to North America. If it's not there, go to Europe, Africa, anywhere. Just keep going until you find it. But the man still looked like a deflated balloon, slumped and lifeless. He turned and muttered, You make it sound wise, but honestly, what's going to be different out there? Qingyin snapped, shouting, Don't you get it? You're not running away from death. North America won't have pacifiers or palaces or peace and quiet. It'll be chaos, fear, and the unknown. But you can't run. You have to face it. That's the only way to reclaim your strength and prove you're a man. As long as you stay in this courtyard, you're nothing. No strength, no freedom, no manhood. Got it? The man went quiet. He seemed thoughtful, or maybe just numb. Then, without a word, he stepped onto the edge of the garden wall. Splash. He dove straight into the lake. But he wasn't giving up. That leap was a turning point. Qingyin's words had finally sparked something in him. He had made his decision. He would search for the truth of this broken world. Before leaving, he tried to entrust Xiao Yi to Qingyin, hoping she could look after her like a real little sister. But Xiao Yi shook her head firmly. She refused to stay behind. In this shattered world, they were no longer just companions. They were all each other had. At dawn the next day, Qingyin personally escorted the man and Xiao Yi to the gates of Jiangnan Manor. But just outside, they were blocked. Hong Ying's armed guards were already waiting, weapons drawn, refusing to let them pass. Qingyin narrowed her eyes. Step aside. The women hesitated. Though they feared Qingyin, their orders were clear. No one leaves. Without another word, Qingyin launched a brutal roundhouse kick. Crack! One of the guards flew backward like a rag doll. She slammed into a nearby car, shattering the windshield. Everyone froze in shock. Qingyin shouted, voice like thunder, I'm escorting them myself. Let's see who dares stop me. With that, she marched forward. Wherever she walked, the women of Xiang Tuan parted like waves. Meanwhile, just outside the city, Hong Ying had lined up her convoy of battle trucks in perfect formation. In the distance, a separate column of vehicles roared forward, heading straight toward them. Atop a massive tank in the center stood a fearsome woman. It was none other than Jean Minna, the ruthless Northern Army commander who wanted the man for herself. Her convoy thundered across the plains, rivaling even Xiang Tuan in might. Tension crackled in the air as the two factions faced off, the showdown inevitable. Then, Hong Ying's lieutenant grabbed the walkie-talkie and spoke one word, go. Instantly, a red semi-truck on the left roared to life, tires screeching, dragging a massive steel cable behind it, charging straight into the chaos. At that exact moment, a green truck on the right also roared to life, tires screeching as it shot forward, steel cable dragging behind just like the red one. Hidden beneath the tall grass, the thick cable between the two trucks suddenly snapped taut, stretched like a deadly tripwire. The Northern Army convoy, barreling forward at full speed, had no time to react. One after another, their vehicles slammed into the cable. Tires burst, windshields shattered, and bodies were thrown like rag